I don't care what you're thinking as you turn to me, 'cause what I have in my two hands. Okay, whatever. Whee! I'm happy now. Because oh well. Anyway, no, not anyway. Because yeah, TypeWriterError. You found my videos, and that somehow makes me very happy. Well, so now I already attempted to read the fourth chapter 2 times, but the first time my voice acting was not very good. The second time, I sounded so freaking tired. So, well, whatever. Now I'm gonna charge right through it. So deal with it. Believing Stories by TypeWriterError, Chapter 4. Month later. A gentle shaking woke Celeste up. She opened eyes that were much less clouded than they had been weeks ago. Dr. Cruel was kneeling next to her, with a small case sitting on the floor next to her bed. "Good morning. How did you sleep last night without the sleep medication?" "It took me a little longer, but you have no idea how great it feels to wake up after not needing drugs to fall asleep," she said with a tired smile. She yawned as she moved to sit up. "Well, I'm sorry to have awakened you then, but I figured you would like to see the progress you've been making with withdrawing from the treatments we gave you," he said, and opened the small case to reveal a needle with about 1 milliliter of treatment drug in it. He put on a pair of sterile gloves and picked up the needle to show Celeste the amount. "Wow," she said and smiled. "I figured that would encourage you. You've been mercifully resilient." What's that word? I don't know it, but never mind. "I figured that would encourage you. You've been mercifully resilient to this drug's power, but I remember the trouble you had a while ago with withdrawing from it. So how much longer until I'm off of it completely? No. So how much longer until I'm off it completely?" "Not much longer," he said with a smile, and then carefully injected the drug into her arm. She smiled, though another yawn, as he popped the cover back onto the needle and placed it into a red biohazard bag before putting it back into the case. "Did you dream about anything last night?" he asked as he closed the case with a satisfying snap. "Yeah, it was oh. Yeah, it was only voice, though I couldn't see anything. No human memories yet." "Well, I'm pretty certain that you have been suffering from dissociative identity disorder, or as some would say, multiple personality disorder. It's not unusual that you wouldn't be able to remember the personality you had before you created the Celestial one." "Why do you think I even made that personality up?" "Well, that would—" He paused, as though a thought had suddenly occurred to him. "There might be an explanation for that, but I must finish my rounds and think it over. I'll be back once I'm done and we can talk about it. By the way," he said, seeming to remember something as he took off his gloves and placed them in his pocket, "I was wondering if you would be willing to help me with something." "What kind of something?" "Well, my daughter is finishing up medical school and is doing her clinicals here. She is studying psychological medicine, and I was wondering if you would be willing to let her sit in and observe our conversation, as I try to fill you in on your past here and everything." Sure. I would be alright with that," Celeste said, nodding. "Thank you. I'll be back later today. Go back to sleep." He turned and left the room, closing the door behind him. Celeste took a tight deep breath and laid back down, hoping to fall asleep and avoid the hallucinations. The drug she was in withdrawal from had had some nasty side effects. Hallucinations had been one of them, memory lapses another. She had finally figured out where the pen had been hidden. Nurse, or Miss Screwball, had found it hiding... That sounds like Screwball, or at least almost. Miss Screwball, yeah? Pretty funny. Miss Screwball had found it hiding in the ceiling light one night, and since then the notes had stopped. Celeste closed her eyes and rolled over in her bed, pulling the covers close. She was excited to know what her life was like before she came here, but she was just so tired. The sound of something hitting her window caused her to open her eyes again. Time had passed. She could see that by the sunlight's progress a little farther into her room. She blinked and saw a small shadow move into the sunbeam, heard a small plink against the glass, and saw the shadow drop down again. Was someone throwing rocks at her window? She stood up and wrapped her blanket around her shoulders. It was late November and beginning to grow colder in the hospital. She stood in front of the window and waited. Sure enough, another rock flew up and plinked against the bar this time and fell back down. She gripped the blanket around her until her hands almost shook. If this was another hallucination. Only a hallucination. She told herself again and again that it was just the drugs wearing off. Another week, maybe 2, and she wouldn't have to deal with this. Another rock plinked against the window. She finally stepped forward to look out and onto the street below. She stared down at the street and felt anger surge out from her chest into her whole body. 2 girls stood there. The 2 girls from a month ago. The same ones. One had straight blonde hair. This time she looked up at her window, and Celeste could see that she had 2 grey eyes that pointed in different directions. Doesn't Derpy have yellow or orange eyes? But grey eyes is also amazing because, yeah, it resembles her body color, you know. Okay, now, so here Derpy has 2 grey eyes that pointed in different directions. Yay! The other seemed even more outlandish. She was about the same height as... That's so difficult. You know, I'm German and it's not easy. Height. I always want to say heat or something like that. Okay. Whatever. She was about the same height as the other girl and had violet eyes and hair dyed purple with purple and pink streaks in it. The girl with violet contracts in her eyes dropped the pebble in her right hand and beamed while she waved enthusiastically to the enraged women in the hospital window. The blonde one jumped up and down while she began waving and accidentally hit the other girl in the head. Yeah. How Derpy was. A bus passed in the street below, and while the girls were obscured, Celeste dropped out of sight of the window with her back to the wall. It's not real, Celeste. It's not real. Your stupid hallucinations are doing this. This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real. She rocked back and forth, hitting her back against the wall as she repeated the mantra over and over. Her door opened and Dr. Krubel entered with his daughter. He frowned when he saw his patient rocking back and forth. What is it? Can you look into the street below and tell me if you see 2 girls standing there, looking up at this window? She asked through gritted teeth. That's a dot. Dr. Krubel frowned and looked out of the window in every direction. No, I can't see them, he stated. Celeste sighed and closed her eyes. The daughter, a girl named Sarah according to her uniform, squatted next to Celeste and helped her stand up and walk to the table. Dr. Krubel must have picked up the blanket, because as Sarah returned to close the door, Celeste felt him place it on her shoulders. She had dropped it without realizing it when she was looking out the window. I hate these hallucinations. She sighed as Dr. Krubel and Sarah sat down on both sides of her at the table. Sarah compassionately rubbed her shoulder and gave her a sympathetic look. Do you feel like you still want me to tell you your history? Or do you want to wait for another time? That was awful. Again. Do you feel like you Do you feel like you still want me to tell you your history? Or do you want me to wait for another time? No, thank you, Dr. Krubel, but I think I'll be alright. I'm just shaky. I would like to know what started this whole thing. Very well, he said, and began. Ding! Yay, so finally I did it, and I won't edit it now. So you have what you have here is an uncut form of it. Yay! Well, isn't that great? And yeah. So I think I'm gonna do even more chapters now, so you have a little bundle to listen to. And maybe YouTube will realize that I have it's showing. My YouTube is always telling me that I uploaded 6 videos. I don't know how it is with you, but well, YouTube can count for those of you who didn't know that, but well, whatever. So here, and what you see here is the original pic from Film Fiction, by the way. Thus, those which has been used until now has been something randomly... I can't speak like Luna. No, the picture I've been using until now was some random picture from the internet. So yeah, this is now the original one. And yeah, I'm kind of talking a lot, so let's end this talking. Bye.